In this section, we are going to talk about two types of bonds, ionic and metallic bond. So we've already looked at what an ion is, okay? An ion is simply an atom that has lost or gained one or more electrons. And so an ionic bond is the electrical force of attraction between oppositely charged ions. Okay, so we've seen how an atom gains an electron will end up having a negative charge, and an atom that loses an electron will end up having a positive charge. How about you thinking if this positive and this negative come together, they will attract, because you've learned probably in middle school that positive and negative they attract one another, and that is what in essence ionic bonds are. Okay, so we've talked about a sodium having a positive charge and a fluorine atom having a negative charge. So an ionic bond will be formed when these two come together. When they come together, they will attract one another. Okay. And when they come together, they attract, and the force of attraction that is going to exist between these two oppositely charged ions is what we call an ionic bond. Okay. Now, what is a chemical formula for a compound made up of aluminum 3 plus and oxygen ion 2 minus? Okay. So what we do here is that in order to obtain the formula, the charge of aluminum will become the subscript of oxygen, while the charge of oxygen becomes the subscript of aluminum. So we use what we call a crisscross method. Okay, when we do that, what we will realize is that we need three oxygen atoms to balance up the charge of what? Two aluminum atoms. So the total charge that is going to be contributed by aluminum is going to be -6, while the total charge contributed by aluminum by total charge contributed by oxygen will be -6. Total charge contributed by aluminum will be +6. Okay, so if you look at it, I need three oxygen to balance up the charge of two aluminum, and that is the compound right here. Okay. What is the chemical formula of a compound made up of magnesium 2 plus and oxygen 2 minus? These two entities, they have opposite and equal charges. Opposite and equal. So I only need one magnesium to balance up one oxygen. So that is why this is going to be the right formula right here. If you have any question on this, make sure you ask, and I'll be more than happy to do more examples. Okay. Now let's talk about what we call a metallic bond. So uh, again, from the name metallic bond, it is a bond that is only found in metals. Okay, you only have this bond in metals, and so outer electrons in metals are held only by a weak force from the nucleus. And so this weak attraction allows the electrons to move about quite freely. And so this mobility of electrons account for many metallic properties. For example, an alloy is a mixture of metallic elements. If you've ever heard about steel, bronze, brass, these are mixtures of metals. Okay, maybe with some few exceptions like steel, that is a mixture of uh, iron and carbon. Okay, so if you look at this is a coin, and these coins are mostly made up of alloys. Mostly made up of alloys. All right. So that was that for this section. In the next section, we'll talk about covalent bonds.